Hey everyone, JVD here from The Villain's Demand, bringing you another comic book review over Batman 0 Year Secret City from Volume 2, issues 21 through 24 under the New 52, banner. There's not a lot that goes on in this book. Its main focus is that Joker, who's the Red Hood here, and Batman, who isn't quite Batman at the beginning of this book, are they have been each other's folly since the beginning of their, I guess you could say, superhero slash villain careers. And it's to the fact that, they are destined to cross each other forever, kind of like what the Joker was getting at in Death of the Family, that takes place a story arc before the previous one from this. And they set it up as the Joker being the leader of the Red Hood gang, that they're basically using Wayne Corp, who's not ran by Bruce at this time, it's ran by his uncle. They were using them for chemicals and almost as a to help cover their tracks in a sense. And Bruce Wayne, who has returned to Gotham basically to do vigilante work, doesn't want any part of Wayne Corp. And as the story unfolds and he sees that the Jokers are actually using, Wayne Industries for themselves, he realizes that he has to step in and show himself as Batman. And even at that time, the Riddler, Edward Enigma, who you find out has been working for Wayne Corp under the table, has even set the Red Hood gang up to kill Bruce Wayne to stop him from potentially taking over. And you realize there's a lot of twisted things going on within the company. And even his uncle, I think his name is Philip, don't call me that, it really didn't stick with me, doesn't want any of this. And it's to prove that, he really doesn't want Wayne Corp for himself. He wants to see Wayne Corp prosper, and now that he's found out Bruce is back, he even wants Bruce to do it, and eventually Alfred talks him into it. But in the end, you get to the point where Joker falls into the vat of Ace chemicals, and he becomes the Joker, which gets really interesting. I guess that's probably one of the biggest things that's, for me in this book, is, the Joker knows he's not afraid of death as he falls, and he sets up his demise really interesting, in an interesting way. He falls in the chemicals, and then when they find his body later, it turns out to be the original leader for the Red Hood gang, Liam Distal, or Distal, however you want to pronounce that. And they find his body covered in lime, and they can't even tell how long he's been there. And that's where Bruce Wayne and Alfred learn that, well, who is this person who took over the Red Hood gang? Which got me to some interesting questions about all this. Is there's Red Hood gang. It seems like they number in the the hundreds in this book. And Joker, as the Red Hood leader, Red Hood 1, has first forced them all to work for him in some way, and it's curious there, because what strikes me as odd is, how is he able to get so much on so many people and force them to do what he wants? And the thing is, you don't even know if that's done by the original leader before the Joker had even took over. So that's some loose ends. I don't know, it may show up later on in New 52 that might need to be tied up. And there's also the question of when did Joker take his place, which they kind of touch into. They couldn't tell how long Liam had been there, buried in this lime. Another thing that's interesting to point out is you learn the Joker has foster parents, which that's not surprising. It'd be really interesting to see how his upbringing was now that, the New 52 had changed everything and kind of went back in time after Flashpoint to make everybody a little bit younger. And it'd be interesting to see a little bit more there into his history and his upbringing, because he kept mentioning to Bruce as a vigilante and even as Batman later, that the death of the Waynes is really what set his life into motion. And later on when he tries to kill Bruce Wayne at Ace Chemical, he even says that it's ironic that this will all flourish with your end. So it's weird how he mentions both of those, but he doesn't know that Batman is Bruce Wayne, which you've learned also from Death of the Family. Another interesting thing is there towards the end, when everything's going to hell in a handbasket at Ace Chemical, and you see the Joker's reflection in his Red Hood helmet, because his is the only one that's kind of made of, I would assume, glass or even some type of mirror. Because all the other Red Hoods, they have stitched masks on that are solid red. His is almost, like the light-looking thing that it's always known for. And you do see his reflection in it. I thought that was really neat because he's human. And you see it, well, he's obviously human, but you don't see the disfiguration in his face. You see the nose, and it has to be him. So I thought Greg Capullo, however you prefer to pronounce his last name, I thought that was a neat little thing that I'm wondering if people had even seen on this book, even though it's been out for years now. I thought that was really neat. As for Batman, it's really cool because you get a timeline for Batman. In the back of the books, there's these stories about how he learned how to drive, how he learned how to problem solve, and it's all by age. So you realize by the time in the New 52 after Justice League, which even gives you a timeline there in the beginning story, that probably put Bruce Wayne around the age of 30 during all of this. Currently, I thought it was really and the gadgets, yeah, because that was a really cool thing, and they do the whole with the grappling hook. It's by voice command, which you never see that even before this during the Court of Owls or even afterwards, and you never see him call the gadget the grappling hook, but you see basically with these gadgets the evolution of Batman and how it's almost been something from the start for him. Another really cool, interesting I thought was the Riddler working for Wayne. I can't even talk. Wayne Industries, Wayne Corp, whichever you prefer to call them. Riddler's probably, for me, top 2 Batman rogue, next to Mr. Freeze, even though I don't consider him a villain. I've always loved the Riddler, who also gets he's going to be in the next story arc, is what it seems, by the end of this, and he even calls himself Edward Enigma before he introduces himself as the Riddler. I thought that was really weird. I don't know why, as a villain, you would just throw your identity out there, which you find out due to Batman's uncle, his Philip, that there's been something gone wrong with Enigma, like he's got some dirty laundry that's out in the open, and that's why he's been so secretive for Wayne Corp security and whatnot. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. And I know this whole 0 year, there's this story, there's another story which I think is a Riddler, and there's one more. I'm not really sure what that is. I'm just trying to catch up on a lot of this New 52 stuff that I didn't bother to read. But this is a really good story. It's a really good start for Batman, and it's nice to see so much of his origin being placed here throughout this 0 year. And I've heard from some people that this eventually gets boring, but it's really neat, especially with Gordon. Gordon was thrown on the Bat case, and he's just a detective. There's not a lot to him, and it'll be interesting. I've always liked Commissioner Gordon. It'll be really interesting to see how he grows through all this with Batman. But overall, this is a really good story. This whole Snyder run during Batman is phenomenal. I can't get enough of it. Come Rebirth, it's kind of sad that he doesn't write it anymore. But even though the Rebirth stuff so far, whatever, it's been really good. I can't recommend this enough. This whole run for New 52. If you haven't read it and you're listening to this, please read this New 52 Batman stuff. It's amazing. But that's been it for this review over Batman 0 Year Secret City. I'm JVD for the Villains Van. Keep reading, guys.